Well, we get daily letters, emails. Some people still actually send letters that they put postage on, and so that we get some of those. And but we get tons of emails. I get texts from people all over the place that are talking to me about the Heaven book and different things related to heaven. Wherever I go, it can be a general question and answer, and most of the questions and answers are about heaven. And whenever I say heaven, I'm including the future heaven, the new earth. So it's hard to answer that, but let me tell you one story that was actually, I was at a speaking engagement, a plane comes in late, I come in the back, the room is dark, and I'm the speaker for the evening, and but I just sit down somewhere where there's a chair, and I'm sitting next to this guy, and he looks at me and says, so you wrote the Heaven book? And I said, yeah, I did. And he says, well, let me tell you a story. He says, he started it like this. He says, there are 42, it might be 44, I don't know, 40 some chapters, I'm sure you know, Carol, no, that's past chapter 7, so you never got that. You got one good chapter, I'm not going to take chances on the rest of the book. But anyway, but so whatever it is, and I'm wondering, why are you telling me how many chapters are in the Heaven book? He says, and then you have 2 appendices. He says, so the total is 44 or 46, whatever it is. And he says, so my wife was dying of cancer, and we agreed together that I was going to read to her every day a chapter from the book. And he says, so read to her, read to her, read to her. We got to the second appendix. So the very, very end of the book. And I looked up, and she had gone to be with Jesus. And he says, those last 46 or whatever days of our lives were so glorious because we were able to together, and fortunately she was able to understand. Yeah. And so I thought, wow. And I wish I had written hundreds of chapters, so maybe she could have been here longer. But no, but seriously, just the idea that a husband and wife could do it. Well, fast forward to 2.5 years ago, my wife Nancy going home to be with Jesus. And I have had so many people ask me, like, what has it been like, and what I say again and again is, I am so grateful, honestly, for the books I've written and the research on those books that include heaven, happiness, problem of evil and suffering, many other subjects that have extreme bearing on the whole eternal perspective. It's the name of our ministry, Eternal Perspective Ministries. And I will forever be grateful that Nancy and I talked all the time about the resurrection, the new earth, the present heaven where she is now, but especially she had what she coined this term as far as I'm concerned, I've never heard it from anybody else. She says, I have a new earth bucket list. And here's what I want. And she says, do you think God's going to we're going to have dominion, and so he's going to make some people over 5 cities, some people over 10 cities, some people over 1 city. Do you think that he might put me in a position where I could rule over dogs? I said, well, actually, that's about as biblical as you can get. The very first command that was given to human beings was to rule over the animals. To rule the animals to the glory of God. That's the first thing. And then you've got the, be fruitful and multiply command, and then you've got another repetition of the original to rule over the animal kingdom. And so I think in the world to come, I will probably be often hanging around Nancy and the dogs that she's governing to the glory of God. And I actually don't think that's a sentimental off the wall thing to say. I think it's just in keeping with what Scripture tells us.